What's up, everybody? I'm Jason, this is Freeburg Garage. Today we are working on the front fairing for the FXRT. I have an original FXRT fairing I showed, opened up, and then kind of put it away for the year and never came back to it. And now we are coming back to it because I need that in order to get all my electronics hooked up, in order to get the bike up and running. In order for that to do that, that's just how that FXRT fairing works with this. We'll get in that portion. If you ever want to know, see how the wiring I did, first couple videos of this whole build series, I worked on the wiring first, kind of jumped around, and now we're doing the front fairing. Weather here in Michigan is cold and rainy. We're supposed to start seeing some warmer weather, so that'll allow me to paint, hopefully. That's where my rear fender hasn't been painted yet, and I need to do this all at once, so I'm not doing one setup then the other, just trying to paint all that separate portions is long wasted time. So let's dive into the front fairing, show you guys what we're looking at, pieces and all that. Let's get it done. Bam! Beautiful 1980 something FXRT mint fairing. Well, mint condition that I could find. These are hard to track down, that aren't completely destroyed, missing, cracking. That's why there's a lot of aftermarket companies that actually create these, and a lot of people just don't go down the path of trying to rebuild these because they cost an arm and a leg. If you find one fully complete, either the plastic, the dash is all destroyed. And if you go to a shop to get it fixed, it's a lot of money to get it restored to the point where it looks brand new. Probably costs as much as the fairing to be able to work with it, because we're not working with fiberglass on these fairings. They are ABS all the way through. So the last video I had, I was going into a Ultra or a Tour Glide front fairing, and half of it was fiberglass, the other half was ABS. This is all ABS. And you can tell even from the factory how rough the cuts are, because they're all hand done to get these put together. So a lot of money for the factory to be able to put these together. And now with my efforts, we're gonna try to restore this. And from 50 feet away, it looks great. The front is all smooth, paint looks pretty decent until we get to our sides here, right? We got scuff marks here from this thing tipping on this side, I'm assuming, or crashed on that side. And then we have nice gouge on that side, and didn't touch the pinstriping, which is nice, but on this side it did, which sucks because it's trying to save the pinstriping, still kind of up in the air. But we'll get to that a little bit later when it gets towards more of the paint side. All right, flip around the back. This is notorious for cracking. If you've ever tried to see one of these from the inside, if you see one that is fully together, non-cracks, take it and run, because they are worth the money in weight in gold. Well, at least for the FXR community. And where they crack the most are in these vents right here. We got two cracks going up here, and of course right here, almost identical on both sides. This one looks like it was repaired once or another with some kind of glue that put it together. It's held somewhat, so we're gonna attack that as well. And then of course this here, I've seen them where the whole corners are missing. I've seen them completely missing. This like dash area gone and destroyed. Luckily, everything is still here. We're just gonna figure out how we can get it all smoothed out and ready to be more for paint and look more natural into it. So I got a couple different ideas I'm gonna use to hopefully get that together. So that's where the main damages are. Now, if you're trying to wonder what the differences are of the FXRTs, because everyone says FXR are all the same, not for the fairings, and even if you go into some of the frames, but that's here nor there. The other part for the fairings, if you want to know the difference, is the radio was standardized in '87. They went to a national sizing, which is a 2x7 inch radio. If you didn't know that, there was actually a national average sizing for radio. And then in '86, there was a smaller radio that you see, still ran on tape on both. And then below in '85 to '84, you had just a standard FXRT fairing, which didn't have the radio up here. This was not something that it had. The radios were in the insides. Go another video and try to go in depth on each of the fairings. Pretty interesting when you go into it. Now the other part was the police FXRT fairings were made all through the years of the FXR, all the way up until I believe even '94. They were still producing the police fairing in FXRT, which had the lower cut fairing. Very desirable for those. I wanted this one just because it matches my year for my bike. For mine's an '88, and that's when they updated the final fairing form, and it stopped in '92, so that's where that era is, and they're all the same. So essentially '87 other than '92, that was the final destination for these fairings. And we're gonna get this all cleaned up. I'm gonna show you guys closer where we're talking about for cracks. we'll start in there, work our way around. Let's dive into it. All right, left-hand side first. You can see the crack spidering over here close up, and it kind of goes into the air vent as well right here. And normally with ABS, you'd get behind it and support it that way and start to brace it with some weld, some ABS plastic to reinforce it. The problem is that there's no way to get behind this because there's an air duct that's made out of plastic that's essentially going into here, and that blocks you to be able to get up into this corner properly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get this plastic aligned, putting some pressure on it, and then I'm gonna do a type of weld into here and then kind of keep building it up so then we can go back, smooth it with some sanding to a point where it's just flat enough and it'll support itself. Should be a lot stronger than what it is, hopefully, in that sense of it, and see where it takes us. All right, so show you guys what I have, kind of attack it that way, see where it lands us. Welding ABS, there are so many different options we can go into, and it all depends upon how well you can get to your axis of your crack or tab that broke off, whatever it is, to your plastic. Ideally, we need to get behind it to support it more, and then go to the front and get that final sandwich mold into it or weld to be able to reinforce it. The problem is where these are cracked, there's not enough area to get a solid weld behind there. It's up, tucked up in the corner, and there's an air duct that runs for this vent up the front, so it essentially blocks me anyway on this side. If it was this side, we'd have no problem, but because it's on this side, I can't get barely a finger up in there to be able to do it, let alone hot metal trying to weld up in there to reinforce this. So these are the kits that you can also get. You got these all Harbor Freight. You got like the soldering iron style that you can go through ABS and you weld it in there. And then you have this blowtorch style. So what you do is you grind away and then you take a tube of ABS plastic, hard plastic, put that in the crack, weld it back in there, and essentially doing like a TIG weld almost in there. All right, then you have different cements here. We got our ABS plastic there, cement, and of course a cleaner. So 3 different options that we can go into, and then there's other companies that have the fix-all. This is what the normal way I would probably attack this. The problem is getting to this crack is virtually impossible because of where the air duct is for this air vent that goes into here. So I'm stuck on trying to get this crack. If it was on this side, it'd be no problem, but because it's on this side, I can't get a hot piece of metal behind there to be able to weld more in there. I'm gonna try a little bit before we get into it, see if it's possible. It looks like the only way I'm gonna be able to do this is from the outside. So we're gonna have to reinforce this plastic like this, and then I'm going to try and use this ABS cement, and we're gonna stack it and keep building it up, and then we'll knock it down with sandpaper to smooth it out. So that is the theory around there. We're gonna be repainting this whole area, so I'm not too worried about that. And hopefully it doesn't come out destroyed. We should hopefully get a little bit better than what it is. All right, let's dive into the first crack. We'll try to use the cement and then see what it does. All right, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna use some sandpaper to clean up and break the paint so we can get this cement to stick. So I'm gonna hit it with some 80 grit first. That looks pretty good. Actually smoothed out pretty well, better than I thought with what was going on there. And we'll see if we can get anything from the inside before we do just the outside. All right, so it looks like there's about 80% of the crack I can get to on the inside, and I can just kind of gob it in there. The angles aren't going to really help me with the way that the front of the air duct is. So we're just going to gob it behind and hope for the best, and that'll help with anything from the rear. So that's what we're going to do. Try to get this. Oh, this stuff is going to be messy. Whew. All right. Yep, it's getting it. All right, so keep going at it a little bit more. Well, it's better than nothing behind there. And let's try to hit it from the front now. So we're gonna hit it with our cleaner first. Make sure it sticks good. Clean that all up. Looks about as good as he's gonna get. Let's get this black cement now on it. Good start. Let's hop to the other side while this starts to dry up a bit. Hit this with our sandpaper first. From the side, you guys can see where that crack is actually opened up. So we're gonna press this together. I'm gonna figure out a way we're gonna do that to be able to get behind it and try to seal that up. So I gotta figure out, we're going to wrap this around with maybe a strap of some kind that I got, red strap, and just get the two pieces to hold together and see where that goes. All right, so there we are, all squeezed together. I'm gonna try to tack now the inside and see if we can get a little more sealant on there to get it some more protected, and then we will go to the front. I have some very long Q-tip cleaners that will actually work perfect to get up in there. So we're gonna use a little of that action and get to those hard to reach spots in the corners. All right, it's getting there. All right, let's hit it from the front. This stuff has like a 15-minute cure time, so we're gonna check back in 15 minutes and re-hit all this. We're back and starting to seal up. We have the inside here looking pretty good. You can still see the ridge line of the crack going on right there, but it's starting to glue itself, starting to do what it's supposed to do, to heat to the ABS. So we're gonna do another bead on there, and then I'm gonna do the same all the way around, and then we will check back, see how this is. Smudge's looking pretty good. Right hand is pretty smoothed out with that filler. Left hand is getting there. I think it's gonna need another layer or so, and then I'm gonna try to back it with any more cement on the inside if I can to make sure it's more sturdy. And then we'll be able to sand all that down to make it look smooth again without all this goopiness in front of it. So next time we'll go through and get all that sanded and then go on to the actual outside plastics and get those, because I got other parts coming in to be able to do that application. So a bunch more stuff coming up on the RT fairing to get this all fixed. But for now, that'll about wrap for me on this one. I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button, tap that like, press the notification, leave a comment below and tell what you think. And for those who are already subscribed, thank you, and as always, stay free. I'll catch you guys later. Peace!